Welcome to Taylormade Film Business Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you start a successful film production company or any business for that matter. Now, here are your hosts, Bridget and Tony Charles.
Welcome to episode 6 of the Taylormade Film Business Podcast.
Episode 6.
Yes.
Man.
Episode 6. It's been a minute, guys. Before we get started, just to let you guys know, I am your host, Bridget Charles.
And I am Tony Charles.
Yes, Tony Charles. We are on episode 6. It's hard to believe.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yes. For those of you that's joining us for the first time, Taylormade Film Business Podcast. It's a podcast dedicated to bringing you everything related to the film industry as well as the business world. We combine it all together, put it in a cute little package, and share it with you, that valuable content that we hope that you guys are going to receive.
I know.
Yes. And for those of you that haven't listened to our other episodes, our previous episodes, please do go back and listen. If you're consuming this via podcast, we're available on all platforms, YouTube. We are available on video. So just be sure to like us. Follow us, subscribe.
And hit that bell.
Hit that bell. Turn on those notifications.
Once again, we have way more information, great information coming your way.
Absolutely.
You know, if you haven't seen our first few episodes, we own a film company and we made it's a load amount of mistakes, that we made, in our first, production. And our job is we want to share everything that we went through, all the the costly mistakes that we made.
Yes.
And we want to share all that with you. So if you were to start a film company, you don't have to make those mistakes that we made.
So true, guys. So true. Tony is absolutely right. We've made mistakes and we've had successes, and we want to share them both with you, right? So you guys are on the right path, and hopefully we can save you some money by avoiding those costly mistakes.
Oh, most definitely.
Yes. And bringing me, as a matter of fact, Tony, since you said that actually brings us to episode 6. One of the most costly mistakes that people can make in this industry or business in general is not having the correct contracts.
Wow. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
What goes in contract anyway? Can you?
It's a lot goes into a really good contract, guys. Okay. Again, for those of you that hadn't listened to our previous episode number 5, we briefly touched on having a lawyer, having a great attorney. A lot of times when you have an attorney, they'll do this for you. However, you still want to know what you need for the common contracts that you can draft on your own without having to pay a lawyer or pay a third party to have to draft those contracts for you. Okay. There's so much goes into a contract, but even before you get to the contract, just some basic rules of thumbs to remember is when you are filming in the film production industry or photographs or whatever, it's 2 things that's very important. That's contracts, but not so cut and dried. A lot of people leave it out. Mm-hmm. Is one, when you're filming or recording anybody, you always want to get a release. You want their permission to be able to do that. Exactly. Right? That's so important. It varies by states. I know some states, one person, they can actually be the one that can be actually recording someone, and as long as they know about it, you don't actually have to tell the other party. But it just can get so sticky and so messy. It's better to just have that release on file to make sure that you protect yourself in the event that they say that you didn't have their permission to do that. So a release is really important for that kind of thing. And then also just a simple photo release, a simple video release, and that just basically say, hey, I give you permission to photograph me. I give you permission to actually film me, and you can release it on these platforms. These you can't. It's just setting the basis for what you agree to with whomever you are filming or photographing.
So that's why it's important to have a lawyer.
Yes, it is important.
As far as the contract itself, do you have to have the lawyer present or how would that work?
So you do not for a standard contract. So why don't we just kind of tell the listeners just a little bit for a general contract?
Okay.
So say that you just wanted to go out and film a project.
Okay.
You're a production company, or you could just be a filmmaker, right? You just want to go out and film a project. You're new to the business. You don't actually have the budget to be able to hire a good attorney, right? You still need to know how to protect yourself. So just a really basic standard contract as a film, like a filmmaker or film production company or any business, any standard contract just to cover yourself and cover the others is what you'll need. From a film production standpoint, Tony, I'm sure that you would agree one of the first things that we put into our contract is like what it is that we have talked to the clients about and what we agreed to. So the first thing that usually go into our contracts at Taylormade Film Company is the budget that we agreed to.
Yes.
Right?
Budget always really like the first thing, I think budget always going to come first.
Yes, that should be one of the first items that's actually listed in your contract, right? Yeah. Cut and dry, this is what we agreed to. That way, when all is said and done and the project is finished and you're waiting on your final payment, that's not even left up for discussion because it's in the contract and everyone know what they agreed to on both sides. Yeah. So that's one thing to actually go in the budget. And when you're putting the budget in the contract, you want to put the terms of the budget. So for instance, most companies on average, they may have a policy where they say, okay, you want to hire our company. Once you sign the contract and I sign the contract, we require a 50% down payment or a deposit. That's pretty standard for a lot of companies, right? Yeah, so maybe that may be your terms. You may require 75% down. You may only, require 25% down. Whatever your terms are, you want to make sure that it's in black and white in that contract so that is not left for interpretation. You want to make sure that both parties understand what that is. So that's one thing that you would want to put into the contract. And then obviously the other part would be like, okay, 50% down and then 50% when I give you your final footage, if it's a film project or like photographs, when I send you over your final photographs on your jump drive or on your, drive or whatever, I require the final 50%, right? So whatever terms you guys agree to, client and company, you want to make sure that you put that in the contract.
Yeah. So as far as down payments, I had a client. I know you probably don't remember. I had a client. He asked me to shoot a video. I think it was a music video, and he basically said that he will pay in full at the end of the video. And I said no. I mean, you got to give me a down payment. So basically.
So actually wanted you to do all of the work and then pay. Yeah, guys, that's a little bit tricky. For me, that's a little bit dangerous. So right? So because you're going to do all of the work and there's no guarantee that they'll pay you at the end, true enough, you have a contract. But at least with the down payment, you have the guarantee that you have gotten some of the payment regardless as to what go wrong. Or hopefully it won't, but just in case you have to take them to court, at least you won't lose everything.
And that was my problem. This is somebody that, I know him pretty well. And I told him, listen, man, it's business. It's either you give me a down payment or we don't work. I don't work at all because I don't want no problem. Because like I said, he's a good friend. And he was like, I'll pay you at the end of the shoot. And
that's scary. So Tony, do you find it difficult to do business with people that and actually have a legal contract because because people have that have that mindset like, well, since we're friends, we don't need a contract. I know you know me, but for me, I need a contract with everyone. I don't care who you are, just to make sure that we're on up and narrow. And there's no room for interpretation. No two people see things the same.
Yes, so. It's very important, even if you know somebody, even if it's your brother, your sister, you have to have a contract signed.
Yes, absolutely.
A down payment is very important. You got to have something, to start that project, and like I said, this friend, he was a good friend of mine, and we actually, we basically we're not friends anymore over that because he wanted me to shoot the project, but he didn't want to give me a down payment. It's very important, guys, to have a contract and get something.
So true, true. And not only that, not only from a financial standpoint or from the budget, but you also need to stipulate what's going to be delivered. What are you filming? What is the client expectations, right? You want to know exactly what they are pretty much expecting you to give them and what you are giving and vice versa, just to make sure you're on the same page, your client expectations. Yes. And a lot of people say, I'm going to put this on TV, so I need it to be in this format. I'm going to put it on social media, so I need a Facebook format, an Instagram format. So it's really important to know what the client is going to be using the footage for, so that when you get to post-production, if you're doing that portion of it, that you make sure that you deliver.
So why is that important?
That's important because when you're filming and you get the media, you need to know what the client is expecting, because when you get to post-production and your editor begins to edit, or like you begin to edit, whoever's going to do it, you have to set up your timeline based on what the specifications are. So if you notice, when you look at YouTube, the format is different from what you actually see on Instagram. It's more square on Instagram. It's smaller.
Okay.
So wherever they're going to house that media or the footage, you need to know to make sure that you're formatting it that way when you begin to edit. Okay. So that's very, very important. So you need to see what formats they want it in. You need to see what they're looking for. So for instance, say that you're going to be filming something for a client, say a commercial, right? You need to see what those talking points are. What are the mandatory talking points that they need to see in the commercial? I need you to show this. I need you to talk about X. I need you to show Y. And I need you to do Z. You need to know, and that needs to be a part of the contract to make sure that you're delivering what they want, so that you don't finish and they say, well, you missed this or you didn't do this. So that's really, really important. And with that being said, you also want to put in there the information about the editing if you're doing that. Some companies, they'll give you 2 edits that's included in the cost. Everything after that is extra, because you have a lot of customers that will say, oh, I don't like this. Can you change this? Can you change that? That's not part of the contract. You can spend months on a project that was not actually forecast because it wasn't stipulated in the contract.
I know you're right, because we did a project for this client. He was telling me, oh, okay, you should, this is 6K, 7K, 8K. And I asked him, okay, hold up, what do you know about, he was like, I don't know. That's what I
just heard.
Yeah. and I was like, no.
Important.
And I said, okay, we actually shoot in 4K. He didn't realize, okay, is it better than 4K or 8K? And sometimes clients be asking you the one question.
That's true, Tony. Clients will actually request something based on something they've heard. They don't know what it means, what it looked like, what it does. It's just that that's what they've heard. It's the best, and that's what they're asking for. And it may not even fit the project that they're working on, right? So you have to make sure that that's in the contract. Whatever it is, 4K, they need it in format for YouTube and Instagram, whatever it is, you need to make sure that that's specified along with the timeline and dates. They might say, I want to shoot like 2 months from now on the 30th of, like, say, October, and I need you to come at this time in the morning, and I need you to film, and I need to have the final product back within 3 weeks after that, on this date, this time. I put everything in the contract to make sure that there's no room for error. Okay. Cover everything. So the timelines, the dates, what is the customer expecting, plus the budget. And a lot of our production companies and film companies, you'll see whether or not they actually need extra services. Some people will offer help with actually putting it out there and getting it to the right people in the right hands. You need to know if they need that and just what their overall goals are. So will this be part of the contract, part of the budget, as far as, like, if they wanted your help to put it out there? Because a lot of clients, just like the last client we had for the commercial, he didn't know anything about, okay, what is it I have to do? And I told him, no, if you want me to do anything besides filming, it's going to be a different contract. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Tony. And a lot of people don't know the difference. People don't know when you're filming. I kind of like a camera operator, that's just one job, right? What people don't realize is, for most projects and most production companies, there's a lot that go into it, right? You may actually need someone to actually just come and film it. You bring in your film equipment, you film it, you give me the the footage, and we're done. But a lot of people that don't understand the process, they may want you to film it. They want you, I kind of like to write the script for it. Yeah. They also want you to direct it. They want you to edit it. They want you to tell them how to actually put it on social media, how to advertise. Those are each jobs as individual jobs, and a lot of people combine them all together, but they need to understand that that's not just one function. You do offer all of those services, but they need to understand that each one of those actually, they have a different price tag, a different cost, and people need to understand that when they're actually it's very important to put that in your contract. Yes, very important. Just again, you don't need to leave any room for questioning. It needs to be in black and white, signed by both parties. Yeah. And Tony, one other thing that I find really important that a lot of people don't even know about in the film industry in particular is you actually need to put kill fees in your contract. People say kill fees, Kill, kill fees. It's very important. Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, kill fees is just a way to to actually protect your production and your company just in case a production is canceled. So say that someone hire your production company to do whatever it is, right? And they change their mind and they actually pretty much decide they're not going to film for whatever reason. You want this in the contract because you've likely already spent money up front, like you've already called in people that's going to be working for you. You've already put down a deposit on some extra pieces that you may have to rent, whatever it is. You've already spent money, so this protect you and make sure that you don't lose money just in case they decide to cancel that production or that project for any reason.
And I think that's why it's important to do, if you're going to do business with families and friends.
Yes.
Contract is very important.
A contract is super important. People don't have any idea. A contract, like you cannot do anything without a contract. And again, guys, I know you're going to feel like, well, this is just my neighbor, this is my family, this is my friends, but that is a quick way to burn relationships.
Exactly.
Like you can end a relationship so fast over something as simple as a contract over money. Well, actually over not having a contract, right? Yeah. When you have a contract, I mean, everything's there. You both signed it and you know what it is, right? If it's a friend or family, you don't have a contract, they figure, oh, you could just do this for me because, okay, like we're tight or we're family, if we're friends or whatever. But at the end of the day, you still have a business to, to run. You know, like you spent money on your business, right? That's
one thing you do. You always ask the clients, you need to read over our contract.
Yes.
Because when our client, we had I remember like you told her, listen, we're just going to film for you, but you could just take that, we just give you back the footage.
Yes.
And she was like, okay, she was okay with it because it was part of the contract.
Absolutely.
And after we're done, she was like, hold up, you are not going to do the editing? And I said, no. I remember you told her, no, you got to read your contract. It's in the contract.
Correct.
And that's why it's important, guys. You have to make sure that your clients, they read over the contract from A to Z, because they always going to come back with something else, that's actually not part of the contract.
So true, guys. That's absolutely true. So put it in the contract. Anything that is in doubt or like someone may think it was this, or I thought I was going to get this, don't even leave room for those questions to be lingering out there. Put it in the contract. It's better to have it there and to not need it than to need it and not have it. It's super important, guys. It's so important. Yes, so important. So be sure to think about all of those things when you're doing your contract. Whatever you would think that someone should probably do, but you're not sure, put it in the contract.
Exactly.
Protect yourself and protect others and protect your relationships, right? Yeah. Having that contract, you'll keep your relationships intact because, again, people break up all the time over stuff as simple as something that was actually a perceived notion that was not the case. So
I think that should be another episode, like doing business with friends and family.
Oh, that's a whole series of episodes. That's just not one episode, but I agree with Tony, guys. So those are just some basic tips of things that you should have in your contract. Again, we will likely talk about this again in the future, but for episode 6, from a contract perspective and creating one, we will limit it to that. But as always, if you have any questions or feedback, be sure to send us a message, Taylormade Film Company at gmail.com. Be sure to provide feedback. You can go to YouTube and leave messages there with like some episodes that you would like to see. So please do reach out.
And don't forget to go back and watch our episodes.
Yes.
We have some great information for you, and we have more coming your way.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to hit that bell. So that's the only way you're going to get
that bell, guys. If you're on YouTube, you're watching this. If you're on the podcast platforms, please be sure to download, subscribe, and actually give us 5 stars if you've enjoyed this content. Absolutely. Yeah. So, guys, once again, thank you so much for listening in, for tuning in with us today for episode 6 of the Taylormade Film Business Podcast. Once again, it's been a pleasure actually talking to you guys here. We look forward to the next episode number 7. I am your host, Bridget Charles.
And I am Tony Charles.
And until next time, stay safe.
Don't forget to wash your hands and wear your mask.
So true, guys. Take care. We'll sign it off.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye. You're listening to
Taylormade Podcast.